We welcome you to Hyderabad's Best Coder Programming Contest. In this video we are going to talk about solution to the first practice set that was shared with contestants. So in case you do not have that link, just go to this Facebook page, which I am already there. So in this page, if we move down, a week back the practice set 1 was shared, which consisted of one problem. So this is the link, practice set 1. So we can just click this link and it will take us to the HackerRank site. Now in case you do not have an account there, you can first create an account. It simply requires just filling 2-3 fields. After that you can enter the contest, and the moment we enter the contest or the practice set, we see all the problems listed here. Now since this contained only one problem, that was love letter problem, so we are seeing only one challenge over here. Now if we have to solve this challenge, we can click that and this takes us to the problem statement, and at the bottom of it there is a space for us to fill the solution, and either we can run it locally or we can submit the solution. Here we have language choices. We can go with C or C++ based on the comfort level. So now let's look at solving this problem. Now there is one more important thing to remember. We can solve the problem by reading at the problem statement side by side and writing the code, and there is a link over here. If I click that, we can see the code window shifts to the right side and the problem statement shifts to the left side. So this gives a lot of convenience when we have written our code and we are testing the code. So I'm going to use this view. In case you want to go back to the old view, again we hit this icon. It takes us back to the full page view where things are laid top to bottom, and if I click this, they are side by side. Okay, so let's start with this problem statement. So this problem said Simran is going to US for her MS and she has to catch a flight. Now she was not able to talk to Raj, who was supposed to come to airport, but he was stuck in the traffic. Now Simran's phone is out of battery, so neither Raj can call her or she cannot call the Raj as well. So what Simran does, she writes a letter and she hands over to her younger sister, so that whenever she meets Raj, she can give that letter to Raj. Now Simran was afraid that my sister can read the letter, so what she does, rather than writing a plain English language letter, she uses some code using which she encodes or encrypts the letter. Now the code is written here. Numbers 0 to 25, they represent lowercase alphabets A to Z. -3 represents full stop, -2 represents a space, -1 represents a new line. Now if the letter is given which concludes or includes these numbers from -3 to 25, we have to convert that to English letter. Now let's take a look at the input format which our program will be processing. Now here onwards there is a specification for our program. Now input consists of two lines. The first line has n, which is count of numbers in the letter. So how many letters or characters does the letter contain? Now if you look at the sample input here, it says 19 and we see next line contains 19 numbers. So line 1 contains n, how many numbers we are going to see, and next line contains those many numbers. Now 19, and these are the numbers. Output will be a paragraph in English consisting of lowercase alphabets, spaces, new lines and full stops, because we said input is restricted from -3 to 25 only, and each digit has been given a meaning over here. Okay, now if 8 is there, 8 represents I, because 0 is representing A, 1 will be B, 2 will be C. Similar to that, 8 will be representing I. Now 8 gets converted into I here. After that we get -2. For -2, what we should do is, it should be printing as a space. Then we are getting 11. 11 should be printed as L. And after that, wherever we see -3, it will be full stop. Wherever we see -1, it will be a new line. We can see here there is a new line. So I love you dot, and then there is a new line, then there is Simran. Fine. Now in order to solve this problem, the first thought that comes to our mind is probably we should take an array where we should store all these numbers. It's a good idea. We can begin with an array, But if we look at the problem statement, it does not specify how many numbers will be given to us. So even if we take an array of size 100, possibly there may be an input which is going with 1000 or 2000 or 5000 numbers given here. Another thing is there is no benefit of data being stored, because what we can do is we can directly read these many numbers. I can read 8, convert into I, and simply print on the output. We don't need to worry about storing it because there is no processing involved after storing. So fine, with that understanding, let's start processing our sample input. So we can assume this input will be given to us on console. So what we have to do is we have to remove this line of code, and here we start writing our code. So for reading this number n, we need a variable. So let's take int n. So let's go ahead, take int n. Let's do scanf %d %n. Now here be cautious. Typically we have a habit of writing enter n. This we should avoid, because whatever we are writing here, that will go on to the output window, and that will be compared against this output. So this thing please avoid. Just stick to using scanfs and assume like you will be given these inputs directly. Great. So now we have got n. After getting n, we know n numbers have to be read. So in order to read n numbers, we can simply write a loop. So we can go ahead and simply say int I for I 0, I less than n, I plus plus, and in this loop we will be reading numbers one by one. So let's go ahead and read the first number. So again we do scanf %d %num. Now this number that we have read will be 8, so we have to declare num also. Let's go with num. Now whatever this num is, based on that we have to print the output. Now we have seen if number is 8, we have to print I. So in order to print I from 8, what we have to do is we will simply say 8 plus a. Now what this will give us is, this will give us I, because a has an ASCII value of 97. If 97 plus 1 we say, that is 98, that becomes b. So simply saying a plus 1, so a's ASCII value plus 1 is b, a's ASCII value plus 2 is c, a's ASCII value plus 3 is d. So that's how we have to go. So what we will do is we will simply say printf %c, because we are printing the character, and character is coming from num plus a. So if we go ahead with this, what we will see is every thing that is given to us on input will be printed on output by converting into English. But right now what we are not accounting for is -2, -3. But if this much program we have to validate, we can tick here and we can say test against custom input. So let's give a custom input. We are giving 5 numbers, 0, 1, 2, 3. Now we know 0 is A, 1 is B, 2 is C, 3 is D, 4 is E. If we simply write this much and we run the code, it will be processed, compiled, and we can see here there is some warnings we are getting, which we can simply ignore. But if we go to the output window, we can see our output is ABCDE, which is conversion of this into the output. Fair. So by this time we have solved half our problem. Now only thing we have to account for is we have to account for -2, -3, -1. So let's bring that also in. So if I say here, before actually printing the number, we should check if number that we have got equals to -3, then what we should be doing is we should be printing dot, and we are done. Else if number is -2, then we are putting a space, printf space. Else if number is -1, what we are doing is we are printing a new line. So with these checks in place, we are moving very close to solution. And the last case where we were printing a digit is else this. Now in this case we don't need to account for any other integers, because typically when the problem statement is given, it is said that letter will contain only these numbers. So rest of the numbers we can simply ignore. We can assume it will be 3 to minus 3 minus 2 minus 1 or 0 to 25. Well, so after writing this much, let's try it with the sample input that is given to us. Let's take this, paste it here, 19. Let's copy this line and we say run code, and if we see the output, this matches what is given to us. Now once we have solved this problem and we are confident the solution is done, we can simply hit the submit. Are you sure you want to submit this code? We can say yes, and when we submit the code, there are some test cases that have been added in the background which this code is run against, and we are told whether the code is accepted or not. So when all the test cases pass, then the code is accepted, and if we go and take a look at the leaderboard, it will show people who have submitted this code, and at the bottom it shows our submission. So this is my submission, and before that these are the people: Varun, Rakesh, Sayana. Then we can go to the second page also. These are the people who have solved it. Then third page, we can see there are some people who are still trying. For these people, 1 or 2 test cases might be failing, so they need to think about what is the case they are missing, and they need to incorporate that in their code, and that's the way to solve these problems. Hope this is helpful. Thanks for watching this. Before we close, there is one more thing. This was practice set 1. Yesterday we announced practice set 2 as well. So this is the practice set 2, which includes, let's enter the practice set 2, and this practice set involves 4 problems: palindromizable, tipsy guy, protect your king, and height of laziness. And we have started getting submissions for these already. So we can see 5 people have solved it, 7 people have attempted it. So people are attempting these challenges also. So please work on these practice sets, because ultimately this is going to help you in the round 2 and round 3 of the contest. Wish you all the best. See you there in the finals. Bye bye.